What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're taking a look at a Johto Cup team, and specifically one core that I want to focus on and show off a little bit. I did mention this core in my previous video talking about some top teams and picks for the Johto Cup, and I decided to give it a try straight off the bat, and it's done pretty well for itself. Now I will be running this team with a couple of different choices in the back just to show that it's got some versatility to it, and you can adjust appropriately depending on what you're seeing at your elo rating and in your matchmaking and what you need to be prepared slightly more for. This core is pretty highly ranked on PvPoke, has an AACB rating just for these two Pokemon together without a third, even on the team, so very strong pairing, cover each other's weaknesses very well in this meta. I did run a poll on the channel for you guys asking what you wanted to see, what you wanted me to focus on first, and there was a majority for the Johto Cup, but there was some interest in all 4 cups that are currently available, so I'm going to be trying to put content out a little bit faster this week, try and get some content out for all the cups. There's a few interesting things I do want to talk about that have recently come up, such as Sap Cannon Registeel and Florges, is that how you pronounce Florges? Florges? In the Great League. A few interesting things for sure, so if you guys want to see that content, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you're notified when I do upload those videos. If you wanted to see the Johto Cup, be sure to like this, or actually if you just enjoy the content, drop a like overall, and let's look at the team. So the core in question is Umbreon and Mantine. Umbreon long been one of my favourite choices for the Great League. Mantine is incredibly bulky as well. They've got a lot of positive to neutral matchups against most things in the meta, so they're very versatile. I think Mantine just has to watch out for the electric since it's water and flying. It goes down like an absolute bag of sand against an electric type, but other than that, they've both got very good coverage. They've got some nice versatile movesets to work with and can put a lot of work in this meta. And you can really plug a lot of different Pokemon in the back of this team to really round out its matchups depending on what you're seeing in the meta. We're personally going to be trying out Donphan and also Quagsire, both of which I actually built for this cup specifically. I didn't have either of them ready for the Great League, but thought it's time to build them, especially with Donphan getting access to new moves. And I know Quagsire has some decent play. It's often overshadowed by Swampert, unfortunately, but it is still a very strong choice. If you're looking for something else to pair with it, things like Meganium, Hitmontop, Blossom. I even used Azumarill at one point for a set using Umbreon Double Water as a strategy, which worked out fairly well. So there's a lot of choice in how you want to run this core and what you want to match up with it. I am only going to have a handful of matchups with each of these backliners to show you guys, and that's because I've been doing battles in all 4 cups, trying to put teams together and get videos together as fast as possible to get uploaded for you guys to check out, so you can get a bit of a taste of a team, see if you think it's something that's going to work for you, and give it a go. Oftentimes when I'm showing you guys a team, I'll have done 25 or even 50 battles with that team to get a variation of different leads and backlines and situations and interesting gameplay to talk about and show you guys, but this is definitely going to be quick fire taster sessions of teams so you can get a feel of how these different things work. And with this team you can lead either Mantine or Umbreon depending on what you feel more inclined to run on the lead. It doesn't really matter which, but you don't want to double up on a lot of common weaknesses on your front and your back Pokemon. So think carefully about it, such as when I've run Azumarill in the back, I put Umbreon on the lead so we've got double water in the back, because if we led Mantine, had Azumarill in the back, and we come across an electric lead like Ampharos or Raikou, we're just going to get absolutely smashed to pieces. Also, it's worth noting in this situation where an opponent swaps in a Skarmory, I do recommend you bring in Umbreon. Umbreon does pretty well against Skarmory, and generally Skarmory's win condition against an Umbreon is to land a Brave Bird, which they're very unlikely to throw if they've aggressively swapped in their Skarmory, because they'll be locked in there. So I do recommend that you bring in Umbreon rather than Quagsire to a Skarmory swap in, especially if you've debuffed them. Umbreon becomes a very safe matchup against a debuffed Skarmory. You're also going to see why that would have been even better, because Quagsire would absolutely hardwall the Pokemon they do end up having in the back in this game. And one last thing, if these battles do seem a little faster than usual, I have sped them up a little bit more than I normally would, and that's because these battles take quite a long time. The Great League isn't often the league where you see timeouts, that's generally the Ultra League, but because you've got Umbreon and Mantine and they're both spammy and they're both very bulky, you're just going to find that a lot of games do time out. I did have quite a few timeout wins and a couple of cheeky timeout losses with this team. Right, bit of commentary. If you're wondering why I swapped Mantine into the Lantern there, it's because I was waiting for them to build up energy, swap into Mantine, they're still going to be forced to throw the energy, and it just prevents them from getting to as many charge moves against Umbreon, because Umbreon's the win condition, because now here, we can just survive a Hydro Pump, get to one more foul play and take them out, whereas if we'd have stayed in, they'd have probably made it to 2 Thunderbolts or a Thunderbolt and a Hydro Pump and taken us out. GG! And it's worth noting that the lead matchup was a positive one because we had Wing Attack on our Mantine. Wing Attack is the fast move I do recommend that you run. In this first matchup that I'm actually going to show you here, this was actually the first battle I did, and it was before I forgot to TM my Bubble over to Wing Attack, so we're actually going to have a Bubble Mantine and we get a Politoed lead. Now, if Politoads are running Earthquake, this is a very positive matchup for a Wing Attack Mantine. If they're running Blizzard, they can just double Blizzard you and they will take you out, which it takes a lot of energy and you can still put in some serious work against them in that situation. But because we're running Bubble, you're going to see that we're really just going to struggle to take each other out here. They're hitting us for single resisted Weather Balls, we're hitting them for resisted Ice Beams, and we're just going to be basically just chipping each other down. We're double resisting the Mud Shot fast move, they're resisting the fast move. It's just a dragged out game, and like I said, if you had Wing Attack, we'd be in a much better position here, but we're just going to have to just take these Weather Balls all day long. We're not going to shield in this matchup, it's not worth it. Even if they did happen to throw Blizzard at us, we'd just let it go down, that would be fine. This opponent tries to aggressively swap out into a Tyranitar, and we decide to throw a Bubble Beam to debuff them. We do get a shield because Shadow Tyranitar is intensely squishy in the Great League. It cannot take a hit. Look at how much damage these Mud Shots are doing from Quagsire, let alone a charge move. We're going to shield up the Crunch because that would do big damage, even debuffed, and throw a Stone Edge to finish them off. And now we've got another Stone Edge ready to take out this Politoed if they do let it go, which is pretty nice for us. We're in a decent position here. We've got Umbreon with full health and a shield advantage, and Umbreon with a shield advantage can do pretty well in all neutral matchups. We're going to catch a Weather Ball on the Mantine just because we can, and it saves us feeling pressured to use a shield on Quagsire. We can keep it a little bit more healthy in case it's got a good matchup against whatever's in the back, and it does because they've got a Magcargo in the back. We're going to let the first move go because we doubt they're going to throw an Overheat as the first charge move. And we're just going to spam these foul plays. I don't think we're going to shield Umbreon at all. Seeing that there's a Magcargo in the back, Quagsire is very obviously at a win condition at this point, and it should be able to handle the Politoed now that it's pretty much energy dry since we did catch that Weather Ball on the Mantine. We're just going to let this go. If they throw an Overheat and take us out, that's fine. If they don't, we're just going to keep on chipping. Now we're going to swap out now. We're hoping that they're pretty energy dry. We're going to swap in aggressively, throw a Stone Edge straight away, take them out. And now with the Magcargo dealt with, either Umbreon or Quagsire is the win condition. Doesn't matter which, we're going to let Quagsire go down. We're more confident at definitely getting a move off on Umbreon because we knew we had energy loaded and we knew we could use a shield to guarantee that we could get this through no matter what, and we're going to take that win just as the time is coming up. Alright, let's hightail it over into matchup number 3, and we pull a Sudowoodo lead, and the opponent chooses to swap out into Quillfish, and there's several decisions that go on here, because Sudowoodo is actually a core breaker for Mantine and Umbreon because it's got access to Counter and Rock Slide. It can actually beat either one of them straight up in a fight, but I think the opponent just saw a Water type and decided that they were going to swap out into Quillfish, which is a great safe swap in the Johto Cup. But we decide we can line Quagsire up with the Sudowoodo later. We're just going to stay in with Mantine, take switch advantage here, and then see what the opponent wants to do, see what they've got in the back. Hopefully they've got something that Umbreon can deal with. Turns out they've got an Ariados, which they bring into Mantine to start. Well, I thought they were going to try and farm down, but that would have been very optimistic of them. They'd have took a lot of Wing Attack damage in the meantime of that. And because we know they've got Sudowoodo in the back, we're just going to bring Umbreon into Ariados, even though they've got Lunge, which is going to hit for very big super effective damage. They actually catch a foul play on Sudowoodo, which is a great play by them, but now we're going to be able to get Quagsire locked in here, and one Earthquake will absolutely smash Sudowoodo to pieces. So we could have not thrown the foul play, to be honest, but also we might have got a shield this late on in the game. We're going to throw a Stone Edge to save some energy because Sudowoodo's pretty squishy and Rock is neutral to Rock. So we knew we could take them out anyway at that range, and now we can start spamming Stone Edges at this Ariados and see if we can take them out. We're not going to shield this move because neither Lunge or Cross Poison should take us out. They're unlikely to have Mega Horn because they've shown Lunge. You're unlikely to run double Bug Charge moves on an Ariados. You really want that poison coverage as well. We're going to force them to throw to take us out because they cannot farm us down with Poison Sting, absolutely not. And now we're just going to be able to get to 2 foul plays with Umbreon and finish off this Ariados because Umbreon's just so bulky. We could survive another lunge. Technically, they have to get to 2 more to finish us off. And they might make it to 1 more for sure and get us pretty low, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to get to this last foul play and we're going to take that win. Alright, we're going to take a quick sidestep over and look at Donphan in the back rather than Quagsire, and you can see how that kind of plays out in certain matchups. Donphan's pretty strong, having access to counter, body slam and earthquake. Now, the Skarmory Mantine matchup is a pretty neutral one, and I think to comfortably win it, they have to shield a Bubble Beam, which they're unlikely to do here because we're throwing before we even built up to an Ice Beam, and the Ice Beam isn't super threatening, so I wouldn't expect them to shield it anyway. To be honest, we're just happy to debuff them first. They throw a Sky Attack, which we don't mind taking, especially now that they are debuffed, and I think at this point we'll go for the Ice Beam, do a nice big chunk of damage, put a little bit more pressure on this Skarmory, get it a little bit lower, and make them throw if they do want to threaten to take us out. We are going to shield up this second Sky Attack because that would get us in farm down range, and the opponent chooses to swap out into a Shadow Quagsire. We're going to throw a Bubble Beam, get them debuffed. We do get a shield, which is very, very nice. And we're actually going to stay in and make them throw energy to take us out. We don't mind letting Mantine go. At that point, nothing on our team has a bad matchup with Skarmory. It doesn't wall anything. And looking at this, Skarmory on the lead and Quagsire on the say swap, they might be trying to bait out a grass type for Skarmory to deal with. Oh my good lord, we took a lot of damage from that Shadow Earthquake. If that had not been debuffed, that would have absolutely one-shotted us, and it basically did anyway. But we're going to preserve the body slam on Donphan. We're going to save that, swap out to Umbreon and start working on this Skarmory, see what they want to do. We actually get a shield out of them, which is kind of odd. I think that makes this worth a shield because that might have been I'd lost count to be honest, but if that had been a Brave Bird, it would definitely have been worth shielding. And the fact that they're shielded implied they might be weak to Umbreon in the back. Turns out it's a Lantern, which makes sense. They wanted to bait out a grass type that would wall Lantern otherwise and then deal with it with Skarmory. And it's a little bit unfortunate that we actually brought in Donphan into their Quagsire because Donphan absolutely walls. But it doesn't wall Lantern, it just double resists all the electric moves, but it does have access to Hydro Pump, which would probably one-shot. Donphan's not the bulkiest Pokemon on the team. It definitely brings down the average bulk a little bit compared to Umbreon and Lantern. You're going to see here we can put a lot of work in. We're going to go for a combo play, throw that last body slam that we stored earlier, finish them off and take the win. Umbreon and Donphan sweeping the back line. GG. Alright, jumping into the next match, and you're going to get to see how Donphan actually deals with a Skarmory in this match. Alright, so a Quagsire lead has got access to Stone Edge, which won't one-shot but would do a big chunk of damage. We do try to catch a Stone Edge on Donphan. It's 7 mud shots for them to get there, and we do swap on the 7, but the opponent is very disciplined, holds onto their energy. They actually try and catch a move back onto the Skarmory, but we don't throw our Body Slam, we actually throw Earthquake, which is the better move to throw. At Skarmory, both Body Slam and Earthquake are double resisted, and Earthquake hits for massive damage even on a flyer. And now we'll be able to commit a shield and actually get to a Body Slam here, which will take them out if they don't shield, because Donphan is just pretty strong. The counters do add up very, very fast because it's got a reasonable attack stat. The Quagsire is going to come back in and commit energy to actually take us out. It's a Stone Edge, it's resisted, but it takes us out because Donphan's reasonably squishy. It's more attack weighted than it is defense weighted, which is probably one of its biggest drawbacks in general Great League usage. And now we've got Umbreon in an Umbreon mirror match, and this entirely comes down to sneaking through Snarls when the opponent throws, and that's if the opponent does have Last Resort. If they've got Psychic, we're in a very, very positive position, but they do have Last Resort. So really, whoever wins this matchup particularly just comes down to sneaking through Snarls when the opponent throws a charge move, which is very difficult to do because you're both using 3-turn fast moves. It's just awkward, and it can feel very unfair when you don't sneak fast moves through, or it can feel very unfair even if you are sneaking them through and the opponent's not getting them through. You can take quite a big advantage over the full length of this matchup. It does take quite a while to play out. It's like watching 2 Azumarils Ice Beam each other. This is ridiculous. But we're going to get to one more Last Resort, get them pretty low, and probably swap out very quickly to Mantine after throwing this. No? Okay, we're going to tempt them to throw, make them throw some energy before we go down. If it doesn't take us out, doesn't quite, swap to Mantine. This Quagsire has energy. We can shield. It's not going to make it to 2 Stone Edges, which it still has to get to take us out. And we're pretty much going to win this game with a full health Mantine, which is kind of crazy how that's going to work out. But that's just the way it goes. GG. Alright, one more Donphan matchup to show you guys against Fur Detonator 82. And we've got a Mantine against Umbreon, so very neutral, very bulky, tanky kind of matchup going on here. Over time, this does shift more and more towards Mantine's favour if you are throwing Bubble Beams and debuffing them. We're not 100% sure in this matchup actually how to play it out, and we decide to swap out into our Umbreon to catch a foul play and see what the opponent wants to do, because as we can see, they have an Azumarill in the back, and we have to bait out something like an Azumarill because it does pretty well against Donphan and against Umbreon. And we just had a sneaky suspicion that they might have had an Azumarill in the back that we wanted to bait out. And Umbreon's not a terrible matchup against Azumarill. We do commit a shield, and that might seem like a silly decision, but if you shield up a Play Rough or a Hydro Pump in this matchup with Umbreon, especially with a slight energy advantage, you can force that shield back, or you can take switch advantage, especially if they're running Hydro Pump and not Play Rough. It puts them actually on the back foot quite a bit. So we're going to get to this last resort. If they don't shield this, they don't match our shield, we take switch. They do shield, that's fine. This Azumarill is now in wing attack down range, which is very, very nice for Mantine. We're going to be able to farm them down, get a very big chunk of energy ready to go. They're not quite going to make it to a move. That's absolutely perfect range for that farm. What they're going to do, they're going to bring in the Umbreon that's now energy dry. They are. We're going to go for a Bubble Beam first and then probably start throwing Ice Beams. No, yeah, okay. One more Bubble Beam makes sense, because then we should be able to survive 2 foul plays. They'll have to throw 3 foul plays to finish us off, even at this health range, because Mantine's so bulky, Umbreon's not attack weighted, and it's debuffed at this point, so it's doing basically nothing. It's just tickling Mantine, and is slowly wearing us down. But if they don't throw, we're going to get to another Ice Beam and threaten to take them out. So they throw this, it's not enough. They're going to struggle to farm us down. We're going to get to one more Ice Beam. What are they going to do with this? Are they going to let it go through? Are they going to let Umbreon go down? They're going to let it go, that's fine. And now we're in a 1-to-1 shield situation, Donphan against Skarmory. And to win this matchup, we have to land the Earthquake. We have to bait a Body Slam, we have to get the shield, and then we have to land an Earthquake. We're expecting them to shield whatever we throw, because I'm pretty sure they might not be familiar with Donphan's matchups. We get the shield. I believe it's a CMP tie as well. I believe we get to the moves at the same time. We get the Earthquake off. The timer's coming up. Timer's up. We take out the Skarmory. We take the win. GG. Alright, got one more matchup for you guys, and this is going to be with Umbreon lead and then Quagsire and Azumarill in the back. So double water strategy, and we're just going to see what happens in this game. We do win in quite a cheeky fashion in this game, to be honest, but this is the matchup I'm going to leave you guys with. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have watched this far, if you enjoyed the content, hit the like button. If you're already subscribed to the channel, you're an absolute legend, and I will catch all you guys next time.